start my interviews off with a bit of a softball here. What was your first job in the movie and TV industry?
Oh, my first job in movie and TV was a feature film called 2 Hours. I was 17. We filmed it all around London. It was so much fun. Yeah, really, really fun kids film called 2 Hours.
I'm thrown off because of the accent now. It always fascinates me, like how the accent can go and disappear whenever you're acting, right? How hard is that transition for you?
Um, it depends. Sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes it's really hard, and sometimes I feel like my American accent gets really rusty. Um, but generally, I feel like most of my work I've done in my own accent. But I'd like to think I can switch accents. Like, am I doing an Irish accent now? I'm trying to do an Irish accent, but my American accent is like, I don't know. No, I don't find it easy. I think this is proof that I'm not good at switching between my accents. I think you've got the proof here on camera, recorded for the whole world to see.
You play Jess in the upcoming movie Into the Deep. What attracted you to this role?
I think what attracted me to this role and the project was how wild and crazy it was, and how much of a challenge I knew it would be. It's so rare to read a script that pretty much only has 3 characters in it. I thought that would be a really, really interesting way to work. And also getting to go and work on a boat in the middle of the sea in one of the most beautiful parts of England. Yes, please. And when I met Kate, our director, I fell in love with her and I thought, yes, I want to work with you. And also just Jess's journey and her kind of version of coming of age. I was really interested in exploring that, and how that would feel.
Speaking of those elements, when I watched the film, I wasn't sure how it was shot with the boat in the water. Take me behind how you kind of prepared for that.
Ooh, okay. We prepared by just jumping in at the deep end. We got on the boat, all oblivious and naive, thinking this will be fine, and all got incredibly seasick on day one. It was definitely a learning process for all of us, but by the end of our time on the boat, we'd all got our sea legs, and I think we were all pretty good sailors. You know, I would get to a point where I would come off the boat and be on dry land, and I would feel like I was still moving and I was still on the sea. It was really strange. But I think it was just a lot of teamwork and a lot of perseverance and supporting each other, because it's quite bizarre to get in a speedboat and go on a speedboat to a sailboat to work. It's quite a lot for everyone, with the makeup artists with their kits on there, and it was a lot. And also there's not much space on a yacht like that. So we all got very, very close and comfortable with each other, definitely. And one toilet between everyone.
Yeah,
You didn't.
speaking of that, I feel speaking of that though, I really appreciated the chemistry that you guys did share, and obviously understanding the small, tight-knit space of the shoot. How did you kind of like work off the screen to prepare to have that chemistry on the screen?
Honestly, we didn't have much prep time before we started filming. I think it all just came quite naturally to us, because I suppose when you're filming things and you're not in the actual location, you have a green screen or whatever, you can feel so far away from what's going on. But we really were all together at sea, going through this feeling of feeling like we're in the middle of nowhere together. And even when we shot, so the interiors of the boat in a studio, that's a little behind the scenes secret for you. But even there, they're tiny, tiny, tiny spaces, and we were still in the middle of the nowhere, in the middle of the countryside. So I think we naturally just created a bond because there were so few of us, and we needed to.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things I found fascinating about it, is how it's that's that tight knit, and there's a lot of vulnerability within this role. Like, kind of, how do you get into that headspace for that, preparing into the role of Jess?
I think sometimes it's about especially when you're doing vulnerable things, it's about letting yourself be vulnerable and accepting that it's vulnerable. Like, it's very vulnerable to, even for me at least, for me even to be in a bikini for a lot of the film. I'm not comfortable doing that, but that's a feeling that I can use and I can feel and make sense. And there's no point fighting it when at the end of the day that is what's going on for the character. And also I had such great support from Kate the entire time, and from Jess and from Matt. And like I said, we were so much of a team, all of the cast and all of the crew, that it feels more vulnerable the film coming out than it did making it, because it was such a safe space for all of us. Did I go off track, or did I answer your question?
No, that was perfect. That was perfect. No, it was perfect. It was perfect. Obviously you can play different roles in different films, but how does it feel for yourself to be in that lead role?
It was very exciting, really exciting, and something a dream come true, to be honest. And a very different way of storytelling, when you know that the audience are following your eyes, and what that means and what it feels like to kind of to be in everything. I loved it. I loved working like that. I loved working all day, every day, having no time off, being able to just throw everything I had into it. I absolutely loved it, and I can't wait to do it again, hopefully.
My last question, there's a lot of different things that go into the preparation of a role. There's so many different things you might have learned across the journey. What's something you learned about yourself playing in the role as Jess?
I learned, well, okay, I learned that I actually physically can't hold my breath underwater, which is really weird, but I learned that. That's a definite thing I learned the hard way, in an underwater tank. It was very embarrassing. Someone had to go out and buy me nose clips, and I was like, oh, I'm sorry, everyone. I'm sorry you're going to have to CGI them out. And also I learned that I'm a better swimmer than I give myself credit for. And I learned that I'm a hell of a lot braver than I give myself credit for.
I think that last one is the best one, right? You know what I mean? It's about, I'm sure, you're coming into your own, you get this lead role. It's a whole balancing act for yourself. And it's nice to see, I'm sure now watching it and looking back, it's like, wow, that I did that. You know what I mean? I did that,
Yeah,
So
definitely. I'm so proud of the film. I'm proud of everyone. I can't tell you how great all of the crew were and the cast. So yeah, I'm just excited that the world gets to see it.
I love that. I love the excitement. It's I do a lot of these, but it's nice to see somebody that is excited and enthused about a project they worked on. So thank you for your time today, and I hope all the success in the world with the film and your future of your career. So
Thank you so much, Ricky.